Yo, what's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on this Blue Friday. I've literally stepped off the plane, got into a car, shuttle, got into a car, got to my house, and ran in here to set the cameras back up so I could do this show because the show must go on. But man, just in the nick of time. But just like Russell Wilson's finger healed just in the nick of time, and D. Eskridge healed just in the nick of time, and apparently Aaron Rodgers is available just in the nick of time. Anyway, we're going to dive into this game with, of course, my sponsor and co-host for the show, the Dive In with Dovin. Let's get into it without wasting any time. It is Daniel Dovin. Daniel, what's up, man?
Hey. You know, it's a Friday evening. It's been a long work week. Excited to talk some Seahawks, baby.
Yeah, it's been a long week. You know, normally we do our show on usually either Tuesday or Wednesday, but because I was out of town until today, we had to push things to the last second. But I'm glad we can still do this and get a little bit of Seahawks banter in here before the weekend starts. And so, yeah, I brought up a few things, a few good things, a few bad things. But first, I wanted to get just a few reactionary things on what transpired this week. Obviously, one of the biggest, I guess, news things that happened that we were all thinking maybe was going to come the Seahawks way, and it ultimately didn't and turned out to be the worst, was the whole OBJ potential signing when he was let go by the Cleveland Browns. And I think there was people on both sides of the fence whether he should come here or not. What were you hoping for? And ultimately he went to the Rams like they needed more weapons. But what was your reaction to the whole OBJ thing, man?
You know, I didn't think it was going to be a good idea to pick him up for, I think he had $7.5 million left on his deal. And the whole league thought the same thing. They're like, we're taking a flyer on a guy. And in the end, I think he only got $1 million prorated for half the season, which is $500K. That is a pretty big haircut to take, $7 million less than he would have got. And so I'm not surprised that we didn't pick him up on waivers. I am also not surprised that he decided not to join our team because we're a run first team, defensive head coach, and he would be the number 3 receiver. With the Rams, he's going to be in first place. He's going to live in LA, which he's all about the glitz and the glam. I'm sure he knows a lot of people in LA, and he gets to be number 3 receiver again, but the most important part is they're in a pass first offense. I think they're more pass heavy, at least than the Seahawks. So to me, it made a lot of sense given the situation. I don't really hang out in the FOMO world, the fear of missing out world. I kind of live my life and also as a fan in the, what can we control kind of world. And on one hand, the only way we could have controlled that situation is if we picked him up on waivers and overpaid a good amount. So I think it's fine. In fact, a little piece of me, Norb, was a little controversial. I actually think that it might be a good thing for us that he goes to the Rams. You know why? Because what if he is a locker room cancer? What if he is a drama queen and brings that to LA? It's not my problem. And in fact, it could help us. So he doesn't scare me in 2021 as a player. Like going against him doesn't freak me out. Going against Cooper Kupp is more worrisome, and Robert Woods right now is the scariest man alive for the Seahawks. So I'm not too concerned about OBJ, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm kind of with you, and this is kind of the sour grape side, because at first I was thinking, we don't need him in here. He could cause more problems than it was worth. Then I started thinking, we're 3-5. We're in the season right now where it's not like we got this perfect Super Bowl formula and we don't want to mess that up. It's like right now we're kind of looking for anything to give us a spark. So I thought, hey, why not? Why not? If he comes this way, it'd be something interesting. But then it didn't happen. Of course, he went to the Rams. That became my hope, is that maybe he will come over there. He'll be all upset that he's not getting any throws and throw him off the chemistry, and maybe be like the suicide bomber, goes inside their own, the bunker, blows things up from the inside. That could be my only hope, because right now the Rams, they look scary good of all the teams right now that are playing. Cardinals, of course, up there too. So NFC West becoming more and more scary, but we've got our own problems, right? We've got our own issues to deal with, and the big issue now is the one that's facing us on Sunday, a place where we have not won a game since the 1999 season, when Mike Holmgren was the quarterback. We haven't won a game there in 20 years. So let's talk about that now. On the positive side, I said in the beginning, we do have Russell Wilson back with all of his digits, hopefully working just fine. He does get Dee Eskridge back, who's been gone since the first game with that long-lasting concussion. Finally, good to see him back. Unfortunately, no Chris Carson. We were hoping to get the trifecta of offensive weapons back. We don't get Carson back, but at least Alex Collins sounds like he's good to go. So I'm happy about that part of things. But Aaron Rodgers. I guess let's talk a little bit about that. In the end, the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, was he going to play? Was he not going to play? We still don't know, I guess, for sure. I mean, he could test, or not even test, but he could have symptoms and maybe not play. But for all intents and purposes, I assume he is going to play on Sunday. So what was your reaction to the way that whole thing went down in terms of the final consequence? Because really all it was some pocket change. Aaron Rodgers had to pay like $14,000 and the team got spanked $300,000. Big deal in that world.
Well, I will say the $300,000 is a lot. The $14,000 to him is whatever. I mean, I'm curious. Did you watch his interview on the Pat McAfee show?
I did not. I heard about it and saw excerpts from it, but I didn't actually listen to his interview. Did you?
Yeah, he is the smuggest of the smug human beings. Just always kind of, the world is against me, and he's always kind of defensive, and he's a diva in his own way, to be honest with you. And a lot of people joke about this on NFL memes, but he hated Brett Favre and now has become him, right? And it's true, he's that gunslinger guy who's kind of out there. Anyway, long story short, I don't want to get too much into the weeds of politics. I will say I believe that people should make their own choice for their own bodies. But I will say that Aaron Rodgers didn't do himself any favors by not being honest. I think that there's players in the league that did not get vaccinated, and everyone kind of knows about on the team. But the problem with what he did was that he kind of implied that he was, but he wasn't. And then he broke some rules and then kept others. That was mainly the problem. And then he went out and said some things that actually cost him several sponsorships. So I think that's going to hurt his pocketbook more than the $14,000. That being said, selfishly, I am bummed out that he's going to be eligible the day before. He's eligible tomorrow to come back to the team and then to play us on Sunday. So selfishly, I'm like, dang it, that was kind of weird. At the same time, I did want to see Aaron Rodgers versus Russell Wilson. We're NFL fans because we ultimately want to see the best players against each other. It's no fun to watch Thursday night football. Yesterday, I was watching with my dad, and I was like, Miami sucks, right? They try to create all these storylines. That game, first 3 quarters was awful. Like, Joe Buck was like falling asleep. Troy Aikman was falling asleep. They're like, this is a real defensive struggle. And then they can't think about anything else to think. It was like 3-6 or something. Right. And Lamar, I don't know what's going on with Lamar, but that was a bad game for them. And so I bring it up because nobody wants to see backup quarterbacks and backup players play against each other. So anyway, that's my take on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to get into the politics of it either. It is just simply a matter of, I wished he'd gotten tested positive 1 day later. 1 day. If they could have just announced it a day later, he would have been ineligible for that game. As it turns out, he could still go. And it was just like, man, of all the luck. It's like the game that, the 49ers play the Cardinals. They don't have Kyler Murray and they don't have DeAndre Hopkins. They still lost, and I'm thinking, man, you guys got that draw. And then, last week they didn't have, Aaron Rodgers, and they end up losing that game. And it's like, man, we don't get those lucky breaks, of not having, these starters in when we play them. But in a lot of ways, this could mean more that if we could pull off the win, it'll mean that much more. Because imagine if Aaron Rodgers didn't play and we got the win. Of course, we'll be happy with that. But then people will go, yeah, they only won because Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing. So if you beat Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, it's going to mean much more, and you're going to get much more respect as a team. Because right now, Seattle's been looked at as kind of like they got no chance. We're done. So I don't know what the odds are, what the spread is, but I'm sure we're not favored by many to get this win in this game. So all the more reason that if we can do it, it's going to make people go, that Seattle team. Oh, look at that. They're coming back, So, I think in some ways, maybe that is the better deal. Instead of just hoping for the easiest route, that if we just plan out win, which you're going to have to do anyway, if we want to feel like we can go anywhere, we're going to have to beat good teams with their players in there. So, instead of relying on luck, let's just freaking go out and win this game, huh? Aaron Rodgers or not, let's just beat the best team, that we face against with the best players on the field. And if we do it, it's going to mean that much more. So the question now is, Mr. Daniel Dovin, can we, and what's it going to take to do it, to undo 20 plus years of losing history? And Russell Wilson himself has not done well in Lambeau Field. He's got like 10 picks in 8 games over there. When we've lost there, it's been pretty bad. Now, we did have that one playoff game a few years ago, I think 2019, where we almost won that game. And if not for just a couple of bad plays and drop balls down the stretch, we might have won that playoff game in 2019. But we're here in 2021.
Who's number 17 that dropped that ball?
Oh gosh, I've removed him from my mind because it was such a frustrating play.
Put that in the chat. I remember Russell that year kept talking him up. Number 17.
And that would be his last play for the Seahawks. Yeah, I know.
Someone in the chat needs to remember that wideout.
I remember the play. I remember him dropping the ball, but I can't remember. Malik Turner. Thank you, Nick LeBeau. Malik Turner. Yes, thank you.
Russell's always so classy. He's like, oh, yeah, Malik is doing great. He's saying that about Penny Hart. Penny Hart's amazing. Anyway, so going back to your question, what do we need to do to win this game? Well, we're going to have to do the classic Pete Carroll, what travels on the road when the weather is bad in any year of football. What travels? We need to have some takeaways. We need to have some turnovers. So we need at least 2 turnovers to win.
Are we doing our keys to the game here? Are we talking just sort of generalities?
I thought your question was how are we going to win?
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to see if we're actually formally doing our keys. Are we calling these the keys to the game?
I'm going into the keys.
Okay, we're not wasting time. All right. Turnovers. All right, continue.
Number one,
man.
We need at least 2 turnovers from them. We need to have 2 takeaways. Number 2, we need to take advantage that we've had 2 bye weeks in a row, Norb. We've had the Jags and we've had a bye week. So we've had 2 bye weeks in a row. And you know who benefits most from bye weeks? Veterans, people like Bobby. He's going to come back strong. We're going to have, who's really going to help? Who that's really going to help is Alex Collins. That guy, we've been running him a lot since Carson's been down. That dude, I know he's been at a stadium having a great old time, recharging those batteries, ready to go against Lambeau Field. I was looking forward to Chris Carson back. So Alex Collins needs at least 86 yards on the ground for us to win. That's key number 2. Key number 3 is Russell Wilson needs to show that has indeed been working with Michael Jordan's previous trainer, Tim Grover, and that his mindset is much bigger than the setback. I will say that the comeback is bigger than the setback. So what does that mean? Russell needs to outduel Aaron Rodgers. He needs a higher QB rating. Those 3 things need to happen. I know it's a lot to ask, but that's what it needs to be. 2 takeaways. Alex Collins needs at least 86, 87 yards on the ground, and Russell needs a QBR of at least 0.1% higher than Aaron Rodgers, and we win.
It's funny mentioning Malik Turner. it seems like the name Malik just hasn't done well in Seattle. Malik McDowell, Malik Turner. Let's just not draft any more guys named Malik, okay? That should be what we've learned from all this. I don't know. I just say Malik. Just keep away from guys named Malik. That's not working out.
Sorry, all the Maliks out there. It's nothing personal. It's all professional.
Yeah. Anyway, I do want to acknowledge everybody who's been in the chat. Nick Lambeau, obviously saying a lot of good information in the chat there. Amazing Jay, Alex Blanchard, Seahawks 12th man, Jake Williams, Desert Brothers, Alex Matthews. I appreciate you guys chiming in here. This is my special guest and partner, sponsor, Daniel Dovinh of Dovinh Group at Marketplace Sotheby's. So thank you for those very specific. I love your keys. You're always very specific. 86 yards. To Alex Collins. I have not formulated a really specific keys to this game because it's been harder and harder to figure out what it's going to take to pull off what feels like the impossible. But I feel like
one of your fans keeps calling me. They just left me a message and said, "I see you live streaming with Norb." And they're calling me right now, and I keep texting. I'll call you back, but I just heard one of their voicemails.
Is it the birthday boy? Is it Tyler?
I'm not sure.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was.
Someone keeps calling me from the show.
We did put your phone number here on the screen, and I know that's one of the things. I know it'd rather be someone say, "Hey, Daniel, I'd like to buy a house. Can you hook me up?" Yeah. But that's what happens when you're out there, Matt. So don't blow up his phone. At least wait till he's done with this show because he's not going to be able to talk to you on the phone when he's talking to me, all right? All right, keys to the game. Where can we start without sounding... I don't want to do generic keys because they're too easy, right? To say just, the usual third downs and turnover battle and stuff like that. I don't think this is that generic, but we need to win the time of possession. Number one. Because to me... it's that whole thing where we have lost that battle most of the time, except for this last game where I think we won the time of possession. But we have been behind in that practically in every single game. I don't have the proof of that, but it feels like we've always had the ball less often than the opponent. Yeah. I want to see us be on the ahead category because what that means is that we're having drives and that we're moving the ball and we're moving the chains and getting first down. So time of possession is going to result in all the other things you want to have happen. Usually that means you're not turning the ball over. It means you're getting first downs. It means you're running and passing very efficiently. So
and you're stopping their run.
And you're stopping them. You're stopping them. That means that you're holding the ball. And the best way to stop Aaron Rodgers, if COVID can't do it, well, win the time of possession. That'll do it. So win the time of possession. I'd like to see us be ahead in that category. Number two, I want to see them. We need to sack them more than they sack us. Okay, I don't have a number in mind, but whatever that number is, if it's 1 for us, 0 for them, or 10 for us, 9 for them. But we got to be ahead in that category as well. One is because I feel like Russell, even though he's fully recovered supposedly, I'm still nervous just about the idea of him with that finger having healed ahead of schedule. I just don't want to see him take any unnecessary hits. We've seen him getting hit so many times, and really that injury wasn't a result of him getting sacked. It was just a freakish thing where his hand hit the wrong place. But the last thing we want to do is see Russell in any kind of situation where that hand might get hit again. We just still want to go through another Russell down for the count. So we gotta be ahead in the sack game. And the final one, man, what's the final thing? What would be the third key to winning this game?
Keep Aaron Jones or Devontae Adams under X.
Oh, man.
Under a certain number.
Devontae Adams, I didn't want to bring him up, but I have to bring him up. We've got to limit the damage because you can't shut him down. You can't stop him. You can only try to make it not so bad to where he takes over the game. So if we could limit him to 2 touchdowns or less.
Oh my gosh.
At the most, he can score 2 touchdowns. If he gets 2 or more, then we're in trouble. We're in trouble. That means the running game is it's gonna be ugly if he scores 2 or more touchdowns. So we got to keep him out of the end zone. Make it limited to 1, 2 at the max. Why, is that too much to ask? I mean, that's pretty easy, right? It's some easy numbers.
Too easy, Norb. I think it's okay to have higher standards. I think it's okay to be like
1
less than 100 yards, 1 or less touchdowns.
See, for the yardage thing could be very fluky. You could get burned in one big play for 75 yards, and keep him out of the end zone. And so the yards look like it's high, but he doesn't score. To me, the scoring is worse than the yardage, because the yardage can be very misleading.
Oh, right.
I mean, if he's going to score a touchdown.
Needed some help. I thought you needed some help with your keys.
You were helping me out there. It's just hard because, there's just that, when you've been whooped so many times at a certain place, it's hard to feel like this is going to be that time, because it just has not been friendly to us. But man, imagine the feeling Sunday night if we can pull it off with Aaron Rodgers in there. It would be so amazing.
An X factor is, I heard Al Woods is on the non-injury not playing list.
Or I think it's questionable.
Okay,
I don't think it's out.
Yeah, because I was thinking about, like Devontae's going to get his, Aaron Rodgers is going to throw off his back foot and get his. But we need to understand how we can stop the run, because everything ultimately with LaFleur's offense goes through the running game, and obviously you have the two-headed monster right now. Like A.J. Dillon's a great number 2 punch, and then, it's not too fun playing both Aarons, but particularly Aaron Jones. I don't know. I think we might have, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we could have drafted him maybe. Maybe I'm crazy.
I'm not sure about that. I know we've missed out on other opportunities. That's possible.
Texas, El Paso, but I think it's sad, because I always think about, drafting players like in hindsight, like Budda Baker. I said I don't have FOMO. I do have FOMO on Budda Baker, because like we saw him all the time here at UW, and he was great at UW, and we had an opportunity and
multiple opportunities.
Yeah, that one was hurtful, and then he's in our division, but we had other opportunities to draft some great players, and we've missed a lot. I'm glad we got DK and Tyler, but those are the two mainly like second round draft picks since our Super Bowl losses. Other than that, it's been pretty slim pickings overall. So I'm kind of going off topic here, but this is where my mind is right now in thinking about getting the Seahawks back on track as a franchise. It's going to start with the draft, I think.
We just talked. I'm really disheartened about Chris Carson, and Nick Lambeau says I'm regretting myself wanting us to pay Chris Carson, because I too stood right by him and was hopeful he would be productive this year, and I'm just concerned this may not come to an end. I mean, in terms of this injury streak, anytime you talk about the neck, I think we talked about this. Yeah. That's the Chris Carson end of his career, like Chris Averill, Max Strong. Once you start talking about the neck being this area of concern on a regular basis, the way he runs, especially the running back position, the neck is nothing you can mess around with. This isn't like a toughness thing. It's your neck. This is the thing that, we're talking spinal cord, serious stuff if this is the kind of risk that he's in. And I'm just afraid that maybe this is it for him. Maybe we've seen the last of Chris Carson, that, you don't really heal up from a neck nerve type injury. And so it's very disappointing, because I wanted to really see this guy go off this year. And unfortunately, it just hasn't happened. And how many games has it been now? 4 games? Has it been 4 games now, including this one?
Yeah, and we're a totally different team without him. I think that we had a legitimate shot a couple years ago when we had to bring in Marshawn. We actually had a pretty nice squad, but when you get down to third, fourth string running backs, you really can't make a playoff run. So we need to be at full strength in order to make a run. And now that Russell's back, I have a little bit more confidence, but you don't have that running back right now that you think can just pop one. When he's healthy, fully healthy, Rashad Penny was that guy that he could pop off one. Travis Homer could pop off one, but I'm not sure what our hesitation is with playing Homer more, because to me, he looks like he's in great shape. He's young. He's got a great attitude. We haven't really given him a shot to be the number one guy. I feel like we've almost given DJ Dallas more of a shot than he has. I feel like Travis Homer's almost in like the 4th spot right now. And really, I think he's earned more playing time than Rashad Penny and DJ Dallas.
Well, without seeing his numbers, Travis Homer, I want to say is like he's probably got one of the best yards per carry average, because the few times he's gotten the ball, he's gone off. So he has been, but he's always usually that third down passing game situation back, which he does a great job of. He picks up blitzes, and he's awesome at that. He's a great special teams guy. But you're right. Maybe we should see more of him in there in the mix. Maybe we need to throw to the running back more and put Travis Homer in there, because I agree with you. He's been pretty productive, more so, definitely more than Rashad Penny and Alex Collins. We're going to need him, but we can't expect him to bear the brunt of the load, because he's only going to be able to take so much punishment too. So,
yeah. Ooh, CJ Procise. That just brought up that name.
That's CJ Procise 2.0. That is Rashad Penny, unfortunately.
Poor guy. He definitely lost his explosion after his injury. Rashad Penny. It's unfortunate.
I never thought he had that much explosion anyway. I guess if he's got a wide open gap, he can shoot through it. But like we talked about, first contact between the tackles, he just like goes down, too easy. Yeah. And he's always trying to get that big. He's always trying to bounce it outside to get the big. I can't get 1 yard, so let me try to bust around, go 5 yards back and around, and try to get 10. Instead, he loses 4 or 5 yards, and that drives me crazy. So, but what do you think about, we're getting D. Eskridge? Do you feel like he's going to make, after missing all those games, could he come back and make a big impact like he kind of did in that first game? He was definitely a big part of the offense before he went down.
I think on film, that guy has elite speed. Like, he's got incredible speed. He's got great twitch and power, and I think that he sticks out like a sore thumb, I think, on film. And I think they were really counting on him to be a big part of the offense, and they don't really have that speedster like him. And, logistically, it's very simple for Russell to get the ball, turn around with his left hand, and hand it off to D. Eskridge on a fly sweep. And there's not a whole lot of time that the offensive line needs to protect. They're also protecting, or they're actually run blocking that case, so they're going forward instead of going backwards. And Russell doesn't have to doesn't have to be throwing and hitting someone's helmet with his hand. I just feel like it's a very safe play. The odds of a turnover also go way down when you hand off the ball versus when you throw, which is partly why Pete Carroll always loves to run the ball, is because he's all about protecting the ball and getting the ball off the other team. So I think that play is worth, maybe 2 12-yard gains in a game. And then not only that, it allows the offense to do a little bit more believable play action. Because, when you have all those fakes and stuff, but you never actually hand it to the guy fly sweeping, then what's the point? The defenses are too smart to just be like, oh, where'd they go? I can't believe, where's the football, right? Like, these guys are way faster now than in college, which is partly why poor Rashad Penny, like, he's probably expecting the hole to be really huge, and then there's a super fast giant linebacker in his face, right?
Knocking him.
But D. Eskridge actually has the speed to play at this level. So I'm very excited to see him.
Well, I agree, and I think if they run that fly sweep more often, they're going to have to respect it on the outside. That might open some things up in the middle for either a handoff in the middle, or Russell Wilson keeping it once in a while, or play action, and hit the tight end, the other receivers, on the other side. So I'm anticipating some good plays where they work D. Eskridge either as a decoy or handing it off and getting some good action around the end. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him back from game number 1. So I do want to get our score predictions, but I want to do this. First, I want to tell everybody else. I want you guys to put your score predictions in the chat. Meantime, before we do our score predictions, I'll save that for the end. Let's go to your tip of the week. Let's do that first, and then we'll go to our score predictions, man. All right? Sound good to you?
Yeah, for sure. So in previous times, we talked about the whole process, and last time we talked about actually winning and closing. We throw a whole party. So I wanted to kind of flip the script and talk about, okay, what's the first step to analyzing a property if you want to actually buy an investment property? So it's kind of a whole different topic. Instead of a primary residence that you live in, we're going to talk about purchasing a property where you can actually cash flow. Okay, so what I want to teach you guys is a very simple formula. We talk about quarterback rating, we talk about efficiency, we talk about, oh, this guy's an all-pro second team, all that. The way that we look at that in investment properties is we use this thing called a cap rate. So a cap rate is basically you take all of the gross, which is the all-in expenses of a place per month. Okay, so let's just say that it costs you blank for landscaping, blank for maintenance, blank for this, blank for that, and you remove that from the money that you bring in per month on your investment property. Okay, so that would be called your net operating income, your NOI. So for example, let's just say you buy a little house and you can rent it out for $1,500, right? It's a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath. You rent it out for $1,500 a month. So then your cash flow is 1,500 times 12 is how much you're going to get in a year. But say it costs you to get that, your mortgage is $1,200, and this and that costs money. You got all these expenses. So at the end of the day, you only have $200 of profit, right? Your net operating income. What you do with that is you divide that by the amount of what the property is worth, and then you can get what's called your cap rate. Basically, the higher the cap rate, the better the investment is. So in this market, if you can find a cap rate of 6%, 7%, even 8%, that's a pretty darn good investment. If you're seeing things at like 3%, 4%, probably not worth spending your time and money in. So I just want to give you guys a preview of what investors look at when they're seeing if they want to purchase a property. Basically, how much income is it going to bring in? How many expenses do you have per month versus the value of the property? Those are the 3 numbers you need to get cap rate. The other thing you should note is if you're going to buy an investment property, you probably need at least 10% down, if not 25% down of the value of the property. So if you're looking at something in, South Carolina, it's a triplex at $400,000. 25% is $100,000. So you might need to get some people together to get that $100,000 going, but that might be worth it, because over here in Seattle, something for $400,000, you might be able to get maybe I don't even want to talk about, like something very, very small. Okay, so I'm joking. I'm joking, but you're not going to buy a triplex or a duplex for $400,000. Is what I'm saying. So the point is check out cap rate, y'all. If you have any questions, let me know.
I have a little side story, personal story in regards to that. So when I was in high school, my parents knew that me and my sister, who's 2 years older than me, were going to go to the UW. And so they bought a property in the U District back in 1985, because she was an 85 grad, I was an 87 grad. So we bought it knowing that college was right around the corner. That house, which is about 20 blocks north of the University of Washington in the Ravenna area, just north of the U District. So walking distance, biking distance, bus is close. It's a good location. They bought that house in 1985 for $85,000. Wow. $85,000 back in 1985. Do you want to take a gander at how much on Zillow this house is worth now?
How many bedrooms?
Well, we added to it. So we also added an additional space. So there's 2 floors and a studio on the other side. So 2 bedrooms on the top floor, I think 2 below, and then a studio. Actually, no, studio above and a bedroom below. So that was 6 bedrooms technically, I guess.
Wow.
The whole property.
At least 900,000. Pretty
good guess. It's over $1 million. It's worth over $1 million. Anyway, so not a bad investment, 85,000. And
what's crazy about that is even if they got 20% down on that, it would still be ridiculously cheap.
Right.
Like imagine coming together in the 80s, like, guys, we need to come up with $20,000, and in 20 years it's going to be worth over $1 million. Like,
if I could go back in time, man, that'd be one thing. So stocks and real estate. If you go back in time and go, hey, you might want to look at that property over there at the district. It's going to be a good deal. So anyway, my parents made some good investments, some bad ones too, but that was one of their better ones. And we still have that property. And I ended up living there for many number of years, started my business there, had some great friends who were roommates. So it was a win-win situation. Good, affordable, cheap rent for us. to live during college and after, and nice stable place for my folks at the same time. So anyway, so you get to that stage, definitely talk to Daniel about those questions when you get to that, when you're ready to do that. Speaking about being ready to do that, let's do our score predictions. Daniel, you're the guest. You start first. What do you see the result of this game on Sunday, Seahawks-Packers?
You want my realistic score and my fantasy Dovin score? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to do, man.
My realistic score is 31-21 Packers. My actual score that I really want is going to be 23-21 Seahawks in a nail biter, and it's going to end with Fail Mary Part 2, and it's going to be my man Tyler Lockett, one arm. The question is, did the tip of the football, did it hit the ground or not? And we're going to say it did not. What's funny about it is we're going to win 23-21 with no time left, and people are going to go crazy, and then we still have to technically kick the extra point, and Jason Myers is going to miss it. So it should have been 24-21, but it's actually we're going to win 23-21. Seahawks, please.
Well, sadly, I'm not doing two scores here. I'm just going to do the one because there's just going to be one outcome. Sadly, I'm kind of with you, man. I'm going to stick with my early season prediction music video. I think I said 34-17, Packers win this one. Hard to go against the history, hard to go against what has been just a thorn in our side. And unfortunately, as badly as we need this game, I just see a lot of frustration as I watch the background in green and yellow and us struggle to do all the things that we said we need to do in our keys, which is, winning the time of possession, which means getting third downs, running the ball, being able to move the chains, not have penalties, trying to get those turnovers, trying to get those sacks. It's going to be tough. And sadly, I'm hoping again, the reverse psychology thing, that, picking against the Seahawks, maybe it'll pay off this time. But I just don't see it happening, man. As much as I believe the Seahawks got something going, and as important as this game is, and how greatly impactful it would be if they did win this game, I just see us falling short. And I hope I'm wrong. Man, do I hope I'm wrong.
Even after the bye, even after Russell Wilson comes back, even after the Packers drama.
It's Aaron Rodgers at home, man. He's a different cat at home.
Yeah.
But, and I'd be one thing if Russell Wilson was tearing it up and then he got injured and suddenly we lost all our offensive firepower. But we saw the struggles, in many games. So it's not like I was feeling like, oh, man, we had everything going perfectly and then Russell went out. It was like, he was struggling before he hurt his hand. So, it's not a perfect deal, but we do have Eskridge. I was going to say if we had Chris Carson's back, then we'd be like full strength, but we don't. And that's not helping my faith in our ability to overcome this. So we shall see. But I hope you guys will while you're watching the game, tune in to my live stream and get some reactions from me and my dad as we watch this game. And I'm hoping there will be screaming, shrieking, biting our nails. That means it'll be a close game. And if it's a close game at the end, then we have a good shot. I hope we can keep it close enough to where it's just not getting ugly in this game. So there you go. Hate me or not, but that's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong.
Yes, sir. I hope you're wrong too. I'll bet you one Spam Musubi.
I still owe you. I still owe you a Spam Musubi.
I will go double or nothing. Okay. Double or nothing. Seahawks are going to win.
Okay.
You guys heard it here first.
All right. We're going to have to up the stakes here as we get closer. But
that sounds good.
Imagine if we win, though. That would drop the Packers to 3 losses, right? And we would be 4-5. That seems a lot.
4-5 sounds a lot better than
3-6. I know. And man, I just keep thinking about those games that slip through our fingers because we could be sitting here with a much better record, but
alas,
it is what it is. I hate to say that. Whoever came up with that expression I never liked that expression. It is what it is. Yeah. But it is true. All right. Well, that is it. Again, I want to thank my special guest and sponsor, Daniel Dovin of the Dovin Group at Marketplace Sotheby's. Thanks, man, for carving out your Friday evening to do the show. And we'll be talking next week as we go into another difficult game, playing the best team in the NFC, the Cardinals, who even when they don't have their best players in, are still finding ways to win. So if there's a turnaround point, it's got to happen in these 2 weeks. Otherwise, it's...
To be the best, you gotta beat the best.
That's right, yeah. And with the best players on the field. So these next 2 weeks will be very telling about where we stand. So we will see how it is Sunday night. We could be really super excited or deflated as a Deflategate football. But
yes, sir. Well, thanks for having me, Norb. I really appreciate it.
You betcha. All right, you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday, and go Hawks, baby.
Go Hawks! Woo!